It's Divas That Care Radio. Stories, strategies, and ideas to inspire positive change. Welcome to Divas That Care, a network of women committed to making our world a better place for everyone. This is a global movement for women, by women, engaged in a collaborative effort to create a better world for future generations. To find out more about the movement, visit divasthatcare.com after the show. Right now, though, stay tuned for another jolt of inspiration.
Well, hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Divas That Care. My name is Candace Gish. Well, thank each and every one of you for joining us today. We have a great show for you. We're going to be introducing a brand new diva to our family. We're excited to be able to get to know her a lot better here. And if this is your very first time tuning into the Divas That Care, a huge welcome. We are in our 12th season and listened to in over 30 countries. So thank you guys so much, and please thank the person that invited you to our program. All right, everybody, I'm excited. As I said, today we're going to be introducing our brand new diva. Her name is Amy Bovaird, and I am so excited to have her. Amy, welcome to the Divas.
Oh, thank you. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you. You know, we've been trying to do this interview now for quite a while, and I'm excited to finally have you on the program to get to know you better.
Oh, yeah. I'm really looking forward to it.
Well, Amy, would you mind introducing yourself to our listeners today?
Yeah, sure. Okay, so my name is Amy Bovaird, and I am I was an ESL teacher, English as a Second Language teacher. I grew up in rural Pennsylvania, Northwest, small town called Girard, and I have always been fascinated by other cultures. So that could be because I had a Japanese aunt and a Russian aunt. So I don't know why, but that could be coincidence, or that could have inspired me to want to travel and become a teacher. I don't know. I had a class in college where I studied linguistics, and it just opened the door for language, dialect, and to really want to know other cultures. So I got a job in South America. It wasn't, I took a major, to go backtrack just a moment, I had a major in teaching English as a foreign language. And that was when it wasn't very common, especially where I lived in Pennsylvania. So I did a couple volunteer jobs with refugees, and then I decided to go overseas and teach. So I found a job in Colombia, South America, and I went to a small town called Bucaramanga, and I stayed there for 2 years. Then I found a job in Costa Rica, and I stayed there for 1 year and traveled to the jungle, and I had a lot of different experiences. Came home, and I had met someone in Costa Rica who offered me a job in Indonesia. And so the other countries were Spanish-speaking. This was completely, totally different, so I was thrilled. I went to, as I prepared to go, I went to the eye doctor thinking I needed stronger glasses. And I found out instead that I had this incurable eye condition that was going to leave me blind, that I had to make a decision. I had the job in Indonesia, and I had just 6 weeks before I had to leave. So I had to decide what I was going to do and how I was going to handle my sight loss. And at that point, that was 1989, and they didn't know much about it. There wasn't anything much on the internet, and there was no cure. So I didn't know. The doctor had just told me, well, you should find another position, another job, because you're going blind, and we don't know when, but we just know that it's going to happen. And I decided to go. I decided to go to Indonesia because I thought, what am I going to do? Just wait to be blind? And so with all of these questions in my mind, I went. So that was a small turning point in my life. Yeah.
Well, I'm like, oh my gosh, she's an adventurer. You've done things that I could only dream about doing, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah. My mother was kind of shocked. like, oh no, you're going to be leaving us, and we don't know. Yeah. And, I didn't know if I was going to be able to see them when I came home,
Yeah.
It was very, it was courageous, I think, at that time. But, yeah.
Well, you did so many things in it. I think that probably inspired you to do even more stuff when you came back to the United States, because you became an author. And I want to talk about that because you've got 2 books out there right now, and I want to talk about them because I think it's really important. And then you have a 3rd one that you're working on. So if you don't mind, please share with us why you decided to become an author and what your books are all about.
Okay. Well, first of all, I wanted to write about my travel. That was my initial plan, and I had always wanted to write. I think I was writing journals, writing newsletters about my life overseas, and making them look professional. And so I always wanted to write. And I said, I'll write about Colombia first, But what happened was, at the point that I started to write was 25 years after I found out about my diagnosis, and at that point, I was going through a really difficult period of having to use a white cane, and it had reduced my vision to the point of having to use a white cane. And that actually was my biggest fear, that I would not be able to see. And instead, after a year of training and going through all these thoughts, I found out that it gave me freedom. So I wanted to write about my travels, but the stories that kept coming up were my experience with my completely blind mobility trainer. So that is my first book that I wrote, Mobility Matters, Stepping Out in Faith. And so it talks about how I overcame my fears, and these fears are ones that many with sight loss have experienced. Like, am I going to be vulnerable without using my white cane? Are people going to, want to steal from me? Or, am I going to get hit by a car?
Yeah.
All of these things. And instead, it just gave me this feeling like I was kind of like overseas in my own skin. I was dealing with this completely different culture of having to be a white cane. I wasn't blind. I wasn't sighted. I was somewhere in between. And it was just, I think in the beginning, it was more fearful. I was more fearful. And at the end, I was more triumphant. Yeah. So that was the first book that came out.
That sounds amazing. Absolutely amazing. And you were mentioning before we had started the program is that your books are available in also Braille.
Yes. Mm-hmm. I wanted to
that
make them available in every medium, so I put them in audio, Braille, large print, regular print, and an ebook. Yeah. So just so they could get whatever want. Like they're geared toward family members with people with sight loss, or those with sight loss, or those with faith. Wanting to see how people overcome problems, or, they're just for adventure. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of, they're humorous and faith-filled. So, yeah.
Oh, I love it. So your first book is called Mobility Matters, and then your second one is called Cane Confessions. So tell me about that, because it says the lighter side of mobility.
Yes. So, people think that everything is okay. Once you have a white cane, you're supposed to be, I've found my way around and everything's going to be perfect. But what I found with my white cane, that it wasn't perfect, but that I had to overcome a lot of things, a lot of attitudes that helped me move forward. So there are 27 anecdotes, mostly humorous, and they are about my inability to share some of my fears. Like, for example, there's one story where I pretend that I like to sit on the floor because I can't see the furniture. So instead of saying, I can't see your furniture, can you tell me where the sofa is? I said, oh, I'm so tired. I just want to sit on the floor. And then that poor woman, was so afraid I was going to fall down the stairs that she just kept saying, "Is the door shut? Is the door shut?" So it's like there's these inability of sighted and blind to reach out and just to say, "Look, this is the truth. I've never been around a blind person, or a vision impaired person, and I don't know how to respond to you." And then it's my job to make them feel comfortable, So these stories are how I coped when I didn't have a toy cane, clothing as my flashlight, just trying to be the best blind person I could.
You've got these amazing books, and I love it. Like, I just want to let our listeners know that you have such a beautiful website, and your books are there, and it talks about them. You have a devotion to seeking solace, finding joy after loss. So you have a third book, so these are 3 different books you have, and then you're writing another one. Is that what's going on?
Yes, that's correct. Yes.
Oh, I love it. So tell us about the Seeking Solace, because I think, because you've got the 3 books, and they're all different, and I think our listeners are going to love that.
Yeah, Seeking Solace is about facing and overcoming loss itself. That book is a devotional that focuses on losing twins. I lost twins, and miscarriage, going through divorce, losing a family member, just how imperfect we are, and going through these problems, and what are the things that we do to move forward. And so this is when God is speaking to me and showing me what He is there for me. When I wrote Seeking Solace, it was about a time in my life when I was living in the Middle East, and I was in a hospital all by myself, and it was where God held me up, and all of the times that I faced emergencies, God was there for me. And so looking back on that, I saw actually miracles, in the way he consoled me, and actual physical miracles where I planted jasmine trees in the memory of my twins, and they didn't bloom, and they bloomed on their birthday the first year, and both of them. And so just incredible stories. And just to encourage people who have been through their own losses or divorce or disappointment or the loss of a son, daughter, parent. Yeah.
I think that's in a beautiful book, and thank you so much for writing that. It is a difficult time when people go through different losses in their lives, and sometimes the people around us might not understand what's going on, but having somebody or reading a book like yours, might be able to help them through that.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah, and I wrote a book about a small book. One of my last books was about. It's called The Time to Dance, and it's about how my own great nieces helped me through. Reminded me of how God does meet our needs even years later when we're remembering loss. And for some reason, God always uses holidays or special events or something to remind me of this. And in this story, there was my great nieces reminded me of God's love in this book, in the first story. And the second story, there's another story of my mother coping with my father's loss and how another great niece helped her. And just then there's a story from my new book, an excerpt from there with a dog that I was running with. It's quite humorous. So. Oh,
I love that. Well, and what is your newest book about then? Is it kind of a collaboration of different stories?
Yeah, well, my new book is Milestones in Mobility, and it's about the themes that it has the things that help us. And actually, I had moved home from being overseas for like 25 years, and so it involves also culture shock. You never lose sight loss in just like, okay, I'm losing my sight loss. There's always other things surrounding it. So I was trying to find out who I was back in the United States in this small town. And I was dealing with the loss of my dad, who was the patriarch of our family and my hero, and I was losing sight at the same time. So it takes all three themes, and it talks about attitude, how your attitude is so important, and you see my imperfections, but you also see my triumphs when I kind of begin to accept these things that I have to deal with, running into things, or, like that with RP, retinitis pigmentosa, which is what I have, my eye condition. You see some things but don't see other things. And so I would bend over to pick up something, and I would hit my head. And so you see, attitude is really important. So there's stories about that. Then there is looking for and accepting help, which of course so many people with sight loss, or so many people with loss in general, deal with. And then transportation issues, driving, accepting that you cannot drive anymore, even when you're 17 years old, or and what are the challenges there? Dating, when do you tell somebody that you have sight loss? How do you accept yourself in that partnership? And then there is making excuses. I mean, because I can't do that because I can't see. instead of rising to the challenge, it's always so much easier just to say, I can't do that, I can't see. And so I deal with that because lots of people do that. And then with going shopping, it's so overwhelming sometimes with the white cane. And you're seeing some things and not seeing, and then you with your white cane, sometimes you're not into something and you knock over a display, and then oh my gosh. So, but I don't want to shop at all. In one of my stories, I talk about how much I hate shopping, and I beg my brother to do all the grocery shopping. And then, it just things happen that help you come to terms with this and overcome them. And
I think this would be a beautiful book. I can't wait. I would love to read that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And there's lots of humor in there. And
well, it sounds amazing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It really does.
Yeah.
Your books are extraordinary, and I'm excited because we're going to be, I know for all of our listeners, we are going to be posting all of Amy's books. I would love to put your books into our Divas That Care bookstore.
Oh, that would be terrific. I did write a shorter book on diagnosis and how it's about if people are baseball fans. I use the baseball allegory of symbolism for accepting sight loss and dealing with it. And so that was from my brother. He's a baseball fan, so I used his.
And that's your book, isn't it?
Tips.
It's hitting a home run. Is that the book?
Yeah, hitting a home run. Yep.
Oh my goodness, I love that. Well, we'll definitely have to post that because on your website, as I said, I saw that. And can our listeners get a copy? It says that you can receive one of those copies if they sign up for your newsletter.
Yes, they do. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Excellent. So we'll be posting that here on our social media also for you. I love this, Amy. Amy, you are an extraordinary woman, and I've had such a pleasure chatting with you today. I wanted to ask you, you are also a speaker. So I want to end the program a little bit about, going to events. What type of events do you go and speak at? And tell us a little bit about all that.
Well, I speak at churches. I speak at dinners. I speak at rehab groups, with sight loss. or any kind of disability. I've spoken at other disability. I speak to online groups who what do you call them? They're support groups. I also speak to author groups about writing memoir and sharing your stories, because we all share so many themes that our life experiences are valuable. And so I talk about memoir and the importance of writing things down for our legacy, just so for our children to know the things that we struggle with and our triumphs, and what, we are not perfect. And I think that's the theme that runs through everything. We are not perfect. We are so imperfect.
Well, and it's amazing, because that's kind of what the Divas That Care is all about also. Like, we want to do these podcasts and our anthologies because we want to have these stories that we can share for the next generation, for our families, for anybody that wants to be inspired by them. I think it's really important, because there's so much out there that we don't know anymore because people didn't keep record of it. And the stories of women that have accomplished so much, and just, I always say that I wish I would have had a memoir of my grandmother, about her life and learning and from her and the things that she did. I would have loved that. So I love what you are doing to inspire others to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, when we are approachable, like, then people they want to reach out to us. Like, sometimes those with sight loss or any kind of disability are kind of left by themselves, and not feeling part of the mainstream society. And so I think that just being approachable helps those who are sighted to not be so fearful, or that they're going to make a mistake or say the wrong thing, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just want to be a bridge.
I love that. Well, we are so excited to welcome you to the Diva family. I think you are an amazing woman, and I can't wait to help connect you with so many other amazing women that we have in our tribe. So thank you so much, Amy, for coming onto our program today, sharing your story, telling us a little bit about your book. I think that our listeners are going to really want to go and pick them up.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Amy, and I would love to have you back on the Divas program again in the future.
Oh, okay. Sure. I'd be, when my book comes out, my
we will definitely have you on talking about your newest book. Yes. You will let us know, and we will post that and share it with all of our amazing listeners.
Oh, great.
Well, thank you to Amy, and thank you to all of our amazing listeners. I hope that you can go and check out Amy's amazing website. I'm going to be posting that on our social media. Make sure you take this program, because we record all of our shows. Take it, share with your friends and family. Amy is quite inspirational. Her books are going to inspire so many people, and there's always somebody out there that you can share these books with. Again, it was such a pleasure chatting with our amazing guest, Amy. And I hope that all of our listeners, please do something kind out there. It's so important. And I hope that everybody has a fantastic day. Until next time, everyone.
Thanks for listening. This show was brought to you by Divas That Care. Connect with us on Facebook, on Instagram, and of course on divasthatcare.com, where you can subscribe to our newsletter so you don't miss a thing.